Hello, you all. Thank you for tuning in today. Thank you for all your comments, questions, and likes. I really do appreciate it. Thank you for all the support. So today, the initial plan was to talk about family life in the UK, but I've had a series of questions that I thought, okay, this is important, this is urgent, it needs answering. The first question I got here is somebody saying, how did I know that my husband is the right one for me, especially when he is from a different race? Because the parents are quoting and saying to her that God told the children of Israelites not to marry into a different race. So I thought, because it's something she's dealing with presently, so I thought to address that question. So because the parents quoted the Bible, I am going to respond using the Bible. I am a Christian and I strongly believe in the Word of God and what God says that we should do. So I'm going to quote some Bible portions here regarding that. First and foremost, in a relationship, there are attributes, there are characteristics, there are things you as a woman would tell yourself that you want and you don't want. That's the first thing. You mentioned that the person, this guy, is of a different race. You know, you were vague. You didn't say whether he's white or he's from another country or he's still within Nigeria. Because in Nigeria, you have different ethnicity, different ethnic groups. In Nigeria, you have more than 280 languages. I remember when I was in Nigeria that my own parents as well don't like anybody who is from a different race. You know, parents, with due respect to them, they have their reasons. My dad has his reason for saying that because of the Biafran War, because of what happened, okay? So your parents might have their reason for saying it's not good to marry somebody from different race. But in all, you know this person. You know the person's attributes. Is this the kind of man you want to spend your life with? What is it about this man that you love? Regarding the question that you just asked, how did I know? If you had watched the video on how I met my husband, you would have seen there that I saw my husband in my dream 6 months before I eventually met him. And the day I met him, there was something as well that happened. So you watched that video that really made me think, is he going to be the right person? But in all of this, as a Christian that I am, I also took it to God because I needed confirmation, not just a physical confirmation. Life is spiritual. I also needed the spiritual confirmation. And remember, the Word of God said to us that God's gift had no sorrow. Whatever God's hand is in, you know, with time, people may not see it, but with time, people will see it and people will see the goodness of God in that thing, in that relationship. So that said, I'll quickly read from Acts chapter 17, verse 26. And he said, and the Word of God said, he made from one man every nation of mankind to live on the face of the earth, having determined their appointed times and the boundaries of their lands and territory. So, and God made from one man every nation of mankind. My point is, we are all children of God. We are all from the same man, Adam. Whether it's somebody from the northern part of Nigeria, western part of Nigeria, or whether it's somebody from the eastern, wherever, somebody from America, somebody from Canada, somebody from China, wherever. As Christians, you know, oftentimes we forget this, that we are all made from one man, Adam. Jesus Christ does not care about your skin color. He doesn't care about the region, your ethnicity, where you're coming from, your race. He doesn't care about that. All he cares about is your soul, the man inside of you. That's what he cares about. And again, Romans 12:2 said to us, do not be conformed to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to attest and approve what God's will is, his good, pleasing, and perfect will. What is the will of God concerning your life? In your relationship, is God in it? Because for me, that is what is most important. Who is this man that you want to marry? Is it the will of God? Is it pleasing to God? Because I also realized from the things I've read and from people I've seen, most women, most men, my brothers and sisters, we have missed, some of us have missed the right partner, the right woman, the right man God has prepared for us, all for the sake of race, all for the sake of he doesn't speak the same language with me. I understand that. It's a choice. It's what you want. That's why I said when I started this video, what are the qualities? What are the attributes? What are the characteristics that you are looking for? We all have choices. But in all, the most important thing, the paramount thing here is this the will of God concerning your life? Is this in alignment with God's will concerning your life? Because if you don't have that foundation, if you don't have that foundation in your relationship, it becomes a problem. Now, secondly, your parents are not the one. My parents are not the one who's going to live with this person. I understand sometimes there are problems, when you marry somebody from different race. But everybody's case is different. Everybody's case is unique. You are different. There must be something that God is saying to you. If you are led by God, then it's your choice to do the right thing. Your parents are not the one who's going to live with this man. I have an auntie who is married to an Hausa man. He's a Christian. And he loved my auntie. He still loves my auntie. And they've been together now over 25 years. But there is also someone who could have married an Hausa man and the relationship wouldn't have lasted. So sometimes we judge based on what we think. We judge based on our bias. But we don't judge as Christians based on the word of God. We don't judge based on the word of God. So as I'm asking you, what is God telling you? Well, regarding your question, how did I know that my husband is the right person for me? I knew because my husband was willing to embrace Christ. He wasn't going to church that much when I met him. He goes to church, but not regularly. So, but when he came to visit me, he knew that going to church and loving God is the paramount thing in my life. He knows the relationship I have with God. Stephen knows that. So when he met me, he knew. Weekends when he drives down from where he lives to where I am in London, we go to church together. The second time he came to church, he gave his life to Christ. So I knew we're on the same boat. And not just that he gave his life to Christ, I knew he was a decent man. My husband will not hurt a fly. He tells the truth the way it is. There are some things you see in the person, The person might not be a born again. He wasn't at that particular point in time. But after the second time he visited me, going to church, he gave his life to Christ. But there are things about that person. Does he have that morality, that moral principle, which is what is guiding us as Christians? Like I said, I'm not a pastor, but it's because your parents mentioned the race in the Bible. That's why I said I will answer this question based on what the Word of God said. Jesus Christ sees you and I for who we are. He loved us despite our skin color. He died for all of us despite our skin color, despite our race. We're all made from one man. if the entirety of the human race is coming from a source, come on. Why do we look at the skin color? Why do we look at the race? Why do we look at the ethnicity? Why don't we look at the person, God's creation, the person inside that man? For me, what's important is knowing where you're going to, asking yourself, are you compatible with this man? Those qualities that you desire from a life partner, does he have them? Is he a God-fearing man? Etc., etc. Like I said, it's your choice. It's what you want to do. You have to think deep about it. You have to pray. Marriage is not something where, somebody will say to you, oh, go into it. No, marriage takes hard work. I remember when we got married, our pastor then in London, he said to us that marriage is the only institution where you're given a certificate ever before you start the school. You go for training, you go to school, you have your certificate, you come back, you're excited. Oh, I've graduated, this is my certificate. But no, marriage is that day you both are married, then you sign the marriage register. So, which means it's a learning process. And if you don't have a strong foundation, if you don't have a reason, a very good reason for going into it, when the ups and downs of life comes, then both of you will break away. Because honestly, think of it. Black and black, they separate. White and white, they separate. White, black, they separate. Yoruba, Igbo, they separate. Hausa, my point is that it takes work. No matter who you're married to, if you don't put in the effort, if you don't intentionally water the seed, if you don't intentionally, do the things that you need to do, the marriage will fall apart. It will fall apart. So for me, and also from my experience, marrying into a different race, I don't think it makes any difference. That is my own candid opinion. I don't think it makes difference. The only difference for me is understanding the person you are going into this journey with. Because marriage is a journey. It's what marriage is. Somebody you're compatible with. Somebody that you have the same focus, vision with. Somebody that is headed to the same place where you're headed. So yes, I can understand our parents' concern. I can understand and I respect and appreciate your parents' concern because, come on, you are their baby girl, They love you. They are protecting you. But it's your job to try to convince them. If you're sure you know what you're doing. It's your job to put their mind at ease because they want to make sure that you're doing this correctly. They want to make sure that because they have done it. They have their own experiences. They also know the challenges in marriage. So they are trying to protect you. They are trying to guard you. So don't be upset with your parents. No, don't. It's your job to make them see what you see. Because oftentimes, what is your vision? You see things that people will not see. You see something about that man that nobody sees. But if he's the right person, if he's in sync with the will of God, give it time. Everybody will see it and they will know that you've made the right choice. So I love you and I wish you the best of life and I support whatever you decide to do. Second question, which I've already answered, you were asking if my husband was born again before I married him. No, he wasn't. But I knew from the way he behaves, from the things I see him do, from the way he behaves with his parents, I knew that he had that moral standard instilled in him. And to crown it all, the second time he came to church, he gave his life to Christ. And my husband goes to church every Sunday with me. I am happily married. And to be honest, I am so grateful. Each time I talk about it, I am not bragging. I am not. But, when God gives you a wonderful gift, you have to appreciate it. You've got to thank God. So I am grateful to God for the man he has given me. I am grateful to God for the person he brought into my life. Also grateful to God. And I want you all sisters there, you all brothers there, if you want to make this choice, make sure you're doing it for the right reasons. Make sure you're going for the right person. Thank you again for watching today. Hit the subscribe button and share this video if it blessed your life. Thank you and love you. Bye-bye.